Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, actually. The week is going by so fast. It is Wednesday, and we are on our journey of 28 days of accountability. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Come on in. Come on in. Good morning, Christina. Thank you so much for joining each and every morning. I appreciate you. Good morning, Terrell. Thank you for joining. Good morning, Jay. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate everyone for taking this 28 days of accountability with me. Today, we are on day 6. Can you believe it? It's been 6 days already. And I am excited about what we are learning and what's happening and the transformation that we are going to see at the end of the 28 days in everybody's life. Good morning, my baby Brittany. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. I appreciate everyone. We are ready this morning for day number 6 on our journey toward accountability. We've been talking about setting goals and how important that is on the journey, and that's where we are today. Yesterday we talked about the beginning of what setting SMART goals mean and that acronym. And we talked about the S, meaning our goals had to be specific. We had a couple of people who were not afraid. They jumped on, they talked about their goals, and they listed them. And we received a lot of input and help from the community. And that's what it's all about. Each one reach one to teach one. So I am so excited for the interaction amongst everyone that is on the live. Thank you so much. I am so grateful to everyone that continues to join each and every day. Thank you so much. Today we are going to be focused on the M in setting SMART goals, and the M means that your goal is measurable. I want you to like, love, and share the video. Thank you again, and we are going to get started because I said I'm going to keep myself to 15 minutes. I know so many people have to go to work, so I want to make sure that you're able to jump on, get what you need, and then start your day in a positive manner. So the M, again, in setting SMART goals, is the M means that your goal is measurable. It is measurable. And when we measure our goals, first, we talked about we want to make sure that we write them down, right? Writing down our goals is very important because when we write them down, that means that we are packing our dreams with power. And it's important for us to pack our dreams with power, right? And we put our dreams on a course towards success. We put our dreams on a course towards success. When writing them down, it gives them power and it puts them on a course towards success. Right. And for those of you all who are joining today for the first time, I am Ebony Moncho. I am a motivational speaker and accountability coach and the CEO of 360 HR Solutions. I teach entrepreneurs, influencers, and leaders all over the world how to build success. And I do that by helping them to create structure, to develop processes, and to implement solutions that are sustainable. So again, we are talking about making our goals measurable. First, we want to make sure we always write them down because that packs our dreams with power and it puts us on a course, on a road towards success. Now, it's important that our goals are measurable, right? Because we want to make sure that we can track our progress. And when we can track our progress, it helps us to, one, stay motivated. When we all know that when we see those small wins along the way, we stay motivated. If we are on a 21-day fast or, a 21-day cleanse or a 21-day diet, and if we step on the scale after day 5 and we see that we have lost 2 pounds or 5 pounds, then it's like, yes, this is working. I'm motivated. I can go on for another 5 days because we can see the progress that we are experiencing during our goal setting period. So tracking our progress helps us stay motivated and helps us stay to the course. Also, when we assess our progress, it helps us stay focused, right? Because being focused is important, and it helps us to meet the deadlines, and we feel that exhilaration, we feel that excitement that we get deep down on the inside as we get closer and closer to our goals, right? And the other thing that we want to do, and I'm going to give you a 4-step process in measuring your goals, and then I'm going to get out of here. The next thing that we want to make sure is that our goals, when we set them, we use action words, right? Because action words, action verbs, action words, those are things that can be observed, and those are things that can be measured. So always use an action word or verb as opposed to using a word that is subjective, right? So for example, if we just say, I want to open a business, that is a very broad goal and it's subjective. But if we put an action word into it, we are now saying that I will open my business on May 1st, or I am going to write, a chapter a week. So that word write, that is an action word that is causing you to do something. But just saying, I want to, be an author, that's just a very broad goal. But I will write, that is causing you to do an action. So we want to make sure that when we set our goals, that we have an action that is associated with them, right? So our 4-step process, the first thing that we have to think about is how much will the goal cost you to accomplish, right? So that's the first thing. How much will it cost you to accomplish? And when we think about the cost, right? When we think about the cost, a lot of times we think about finances, and that is true. We do have to look at if it's going to be a financial commitment. Like if our goal is to lose weight, we may have to do some research on a couple of gyms to find out how much membership is, whether if it's Planet Fitness or if we go to LA Fitness. No matter what gym, there may be a financial cost associated with our membership. So we do want to look at what the financial cost is. If we plan to go back to school, how much will tuition be? How much will books cost us? If we have to live on campus, how much will room and board be? We think about and we write down what those costs are. But I also want to bring to your awareness and bring to your thought process, when we talk about costs, not only is it financial, but we have to think about what those spiritual costs are going to be, what those relationship costs are going to be. Because sometimes when we set our goals, we may lose some people along the way, right? We may have to sacrifice our own self, whether that be sacrificing the amount of time that we watch TV, so we have to figure out what are those certain things that we may have to eliminate from our lives that we like right now in order for us to accomplish our goal. A lot of us have a schedule that we follow every day. And depending on what our goals are, we may have to change up our schedule in order for us to pursue that goal. So I want you to really count up the cost and think about on a financial side, and then on a spiritual, emotional, relationship, count up all of those costs when you think about your goal. Because again, it's very important for you to be in the know ahead of time about your goal, because we want every rebuttal, every possible distraction that may try to deter you from your goal. We want you to know all of those things up front, right? And so the next one, number 2, is what tools will you use to measure your goal? Because measurable means that we can see the progress along the way. So we want to make sure that we think about the tools that we're going to need in order to measure our goal progression. And that is what makes our goals more tangible. Things that we can touch, right? Tangible, things that we can see, things that we can feel. So we want to make sure that our goal is something that we can measure. And then how do we measure it, right? We can measure it by a checklist. So we can create a checklist. That can be one way it can be measured. If your goal is to lose weight, your measuring tool may be the scale. You may have a goal to lose inches instead of pounds. So your measuring tool may be an actual measuring tape. You can keep a record. That may be a way. You can have an accountability partner or accountability coach who you tell your goals to, and then they can help measure them. And then you can also measure them by facts and by figures. So if your goal is to have a certain number of dollars in your bank account by a certain time period, you are tracking your progression each and every month or each and every day. I'm sure some of you have seen those calendars, those goal saving calendars where by the end of the year you'll have $10,000 and they show you week 1, week 2, week 3, how much money you should be saving and putting to the side. So that way by the end of the year, you have reached your goal of $10,000 or however much that particular calendar is saying that you want to save. And so each week, that is how you measure. You are measuring, because if you put the $5 away week 1, and then did you put the $10 away week 2? So that is a way of measuring. Our goals must be measurable in order for them to be a SMART goal. So think about the tool that you're going to need in order to measure your goal. Step number 3 is, what targets will you establish as you progress toward your goal? And it's very important to have a target. If your goal is something that's going to take a year or 6 months to complete, we want to set milestones along the way. So every 30 days, what is it that you want to have completed at the end of each 30 days, right? If we are planning a big event that's going to take us like a wedding to complete, we may know that we're going to get married in January of next year, but every month for the next 12 months, we should have milestones at the end of each of those 30 days, what we plan to have accomplished along the way. And that is the targets that you have set to help you accomplish that goal and make sure you are successful, right? And then the last thing is, how will you know when you have reached your goal? And this part to me is the best part, right? How will we know when our goal has been accomplished? Well, friends that are watching, everyone, you will know your goal has been accomplished when you have become your goal. And see, that's tight, right? That is tight. When you have become your goal, that's when you know that your goal has been accomplished. When you, one, can value the journey as much as you value the goal, then you have become the goal. Your goal has been accomplished. When you can value the journey, because that's where all of the trials, that's where all of the tribulation, that's where all of the heartache comes. But when you can value that growth process, when you can value that transformation process, that's how you know that you are reaching your goal. Number 2, when you understand the multitude of work that is going to take to accomplish the goal. Nobody ever said that the journey, that the race, that the battle is going to be easy, right? It is not going to be easy, but we have to make sure that we understand the multitude of work that is going to take in order for us to accomplish the goal, because we are going to be stretched outside of our comfort zones, right? We are going to be stretched, and we already know that. So it's going to take us a lot of work for us to accomplish our goals. And that's okay. We know it. We recognize it. And as long as we agree with ourselves and we're going to keep ourselves motivated, that's how you know you are on the road to reaching and accomplishing your goals. And the last step of that process is when you allow it to take over your life, right? When we allow our goals to take over our life, then we know that we have become our goal. If we say that we want to be the world's best cook or the world's best author, when we allow that thing to really penetrate and take control of us, we are no longer just planning. We're no longer thinking about it. We have actually begun to walk and step in the shadows and begin to walk in the role of what a person look like, who are already a world-renowned author, a world-renowned speaker, a world-renowned cook. Whatever your goal is, when you begin to walk as if you are already that person, that's how you know that you have become your goal. So again, I want to make sure that everybody understands that your goals, one, must be specific and they must be measurable. There's a 4-step process we talked about today. One, how much will it cost you? Whether it's financial, whether it's your relationships, your time, how much is it going to cost? Then number 2, what tools will you use to measure your progress? Will that be a checklist? Are you going to keep a record? Will you use a measuring tape? Is it facts? Is it figures? How will you measure it? Number 3, what will your milestones and your targets be along the way? Make sure that you are writing down those targets. Make sure you have your milestones. Where are you going to check in? Is it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Where will you check in? All of that should be a part of your goal progression list. We should have already started our journals, and we're just adding on. We're adding on. And then number 4, but last but definitely not least, how will you know when you have accomplished your goal? One, when you become your goal, we have to live it. We have to believe in it. It has to live on the inside of our hearts and in our minds in order for us to accomplish it. You value the journey as much as you value the goal. You let it take over your life, and you understand the multitude of work that it's going to take in order for you to accomplish it. I thank everyone each and every day for joining in to the 28 days of accountability. We are on this road together. Today is day 6, and I beseech each one of you that are on the line today to make sure that you join again tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be talking about how our goals are attainable, right? Because we want to make sure that we are looking at things that are realistic. So again, thank you to everyone. My name is Ebony Moncho. I am a motivational speaker, an accountability coach, and the CEO of 360 HR Solutions. I teach entrepreneurs, influencers, and leaders all over the world how to build success. And I do that by helping them to create structure, to develop processes, and to implement solutions that are sustainable. Thank you all so much, and I look forward to seeing each and every person tomorrow morning at 7:30.